Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be all about the good old Xbox 360 and why I think it is the greatest console of all time. Let's get right into it and stick around.
And now the time has come. You've waited long enough. I give you the future of gaming.
Oh man, if I could go back in time and play some of these games again and just relive the magic of them, I would totally do it. It would be awesome. Now, the good old Xbox 360, in my opinion, guys, is the best console of all time. It had the best library of games of all time. But those aren't the only reasons why I believe this was the peak of gaming. Now, Microsoft was not without its problems with this console. The Red Ring of Death is well known in the gaming industry. I will say that their warranty was really good. I think I returned 3 of these over the span of my Xbox 360 days. They were very good about taking any console and just giving you a different one. They didn't really repair the one that you had. I think they would just take it and send out another one. I'm sure they repaired them and sent them to someone else. But anyways, they always fixed them. I always had a working console, so it didn't bother me too much. If you only had one console and it did kind of barf out and you had to wait like a month to get another one back, that would be annoying. But at least they replaced them under warranty, guys. You can't really fault them for that. Now, we all know where Microsoft has been headed in the last few generations, and I'm not going to dive too deep into that. The Xbox One was a fiasco, and then the Series X is just kind of blah. It is what it is. The only good thing about them is the backwards compatibility, in my opinion. Other than that, the new games that are coming out and the exclusives have not been very good. Now, that being said, if you are a collector like myself and you do collect the Xbox 360, I think I have a black 360 Slim. I got a 360E. I've got a few white ones and stuff kicking around. My main goal here, guys, is to start collecting the limited edition ones, and that's what we're going to dive into right now. So the Xbox 360 had a ton of cool limited edition consoles, from Gears of War to Halo. The Star Wars ones are particularly nice looking units. Now, there is a really rare Simpsons one that you don't see very often. It's very expensive. I think it's over $2,000 if you want to buy it now. I would never pay that. And then the 360E, I think it came in a blue version as well. But again, a lot of these consoles just looked really well, and they put a lot of thought in the design on them. They weren't just skinned consoles. To me, they had a lot of style, and they were really cool. The Gears of War one really stands out. It's one I've actually really wanted for a long time, but a lot of these, because of the Red Ring of Death, I don't know if they got turfed or what, but you just don't see that many of them out on Marketplace, and I don't want to pay eBay prices for them. So I'll just keep plugging away with that. These were a perfect marketing strategy for Microsoft. Bundle the game with the console and then make the console look like the game's cover and stuff, or just that art style. People did eat these up, and they were a good seller for Microsoft at the time. Now, the second part of this is the original design of the Xbox. I just thought was a very cool, sleek looking design. It was like nothing that had come out before it, and to me, it's still one of the most classic design consoles of all time. And what went with this was the best controller of all time, in my opinion. There was just a feel about the Xbox 360 controller. It fit perfectly in your hands. It was responsive. And I don't know how many of these controllers I ended up going through. But anyways, this is just a department that I found Sony could not compete. Now, there are a lot of people that prefer the Sony controller. I'm not too sure why. It feels too small and just cheap in your hands. You give me an Xbox 360 controller, and even in the Xbox One and Series X controller, I just believe it's a perfect design, but the 360 is the best one in my opinion. Now, when the old 360 did come out, there was different generations and models. We're not going to dive into this too quickly, but you had the core version. You could get the hard drives for it, 2060, 120 gig, I believe. Then the Elites came out. They had the 120 gig hard drive. I do have one of those in the garage. I need a box for it. If you have one and you're selling it, let me know. Then they came out with the slim models with the 250 gig hard drive. Very reliable model. You usually don't have the red ring problems on these ones. And then at the very end of the life cycle, just before the Xbox One came out, they came out with the 360E. And the 360E is also a very reliable model, much like the Slim. If you find these at yard sales, most of the time they're going to work. A little tidbit, if you are into buying and selling to build your collection, the hard drives on these usually have a good value of $20 to $30. So if you get the Slim with the hard drive in it and someone's asking $20, you might as well just buy it anyways, because the hard drive's worth that anyways, guys. Now, the social aspect of these consoles was still going strong at the time. It was shifting during this time period to focus on online multiplayer and stuff like that. But still, you had the lineups outside the game stores. People were still collecting physical media. I can remember waiting in line for Black Ops, Modern Warfare 2, Halo 3, all these online multiplayer games. Everyone was lining up, and there were huge events outside of Best Buys and Walmarts and everything like that for these games. But if you still wanted to sit in a living room and play with your friends and family, you still had that option. You had Rock Band and Guitar Hero were flying high at this time. You know, Call of Duty, Halo, Gears of War, they all still had this split screen component to them. Ghost Recon, stuff like that. And what I liked about stuff like Gears of War is that you had the online stuff, but you also had the single player campaign that you could play with friends. And I really enjoyed that. I used to play with my brother all the time, and just friends in general. Yeah, it was a good time, guys. You really had the option to do everything back then. And I think that's a big part of what's missing in today's gaming is, even though you have friends online and you can play with people all over the world, sometimes it still does feel like a very lonely place. And back then, you could do both. It's very unfortunate that in today's gaming landscape, that is not the case. Now, the 360 had a great library of exclusive games. It was flying high at this point. Halo was in full swing. Gears of War was in full swing. Oblivion came out before it came out on the PS3 for this. Lost Planet, Crackdown, Fable, Forza, you name it, the Xbox 360 had a little bit of something for everyone. If you liked any of those franchises, the Xbox was the place to play them. And again, just waiting outside for the launch of some of these games, man, they were so good. And it was such a time when developers really cared about gaming in general and what the audience wanted. Something that's definitely gone by the wayside today. You know, just seeing some of the game trailers for stuff coming out, like when Mad World was playing with Gears of War, and just the amount of advertising and hype behind the Halo games and stuff, you really got a sense that gaming was just taking over the entire media scene at this point. And in my opinion, it really was. You know, the Xbox 360 was comparable in sales with Sony, and that was unprecedented at the time. I think they're both around 85 to 90 million units sold to date. So they were neck and neck. And when there's this stiff of competition, this is why the game libraries were so good in these consoles, guys. And this is really the only time Microsoft won the gaming war against Sony, in my opinion. They just had way better exclusives, and they really did have just a overall awesome gaming experience. Xbox Live was better than the PlayStation experience also. Now, the Xbox 360 was also helped by what I would call the golden age of some of these franchises. Obviously, Gears of War and Halo, but this is also when Call of Duty was going, Assassin's Creed was getting off the ground, you had Mass Effect. You also had the great RPGs with Diablo, the Dragon Age games, Elder Scrolls, Fallout, all this stuff. The wife and I actually talked last night, and we kind of discussed, why in the hell don't we have some of our old consoles set up on our TV in the living room? So I'm going to do that. The 360 is going to be the main one, obviously. I probably have 500 or 600 360 games, maybe more, maybe less. I don't know, guys. I have a ton of them. I have all the awesome titles that I love. So I think I'm going to set that up. I'm going to start playing some of those games back on the TV again, get the kids into it. They don't have time to play everything. But just for the nostalgia of it, and it's free, you know, basically you have this stuff. Instead of paying $100 for a new game that you may or may not like, throw something in on the 360 that you do like and play it again. Or you probably have titles kicking around like I do that you've never played, and you might like those too. And they're pretty much free. You can get them cheap, guys. So I'll give you guys some of my favorites on the console, and you can let me know what yours are in the comments below. First, I got to give it up to the golden era of Call of Duty here, guys. Call of Duty 4 through Black Ops 1, the best 4 Call of Duty games ever made, in my opinion. I'm going to go with Gears of War. Those were awesome. Halo 2, Halo 3 were great. Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter. The Fallout games, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas. If you want to give Oblivion and Skyrim a go, I would say Oblivion's my favorite game of all time. Dragon Age Origins is great. Really, the list is just huge for this console. If you even like Minecraft and your kids like that, pick up a 360 and a copy of Minecraft for $10, and you can play that with them on there too. My kids are still playing a ton of Minecraft on our Xbox Ones. Those are my favorite games on the console. I probably have missed some there, but you know how it is. It's been a long time removed since I fired up a 360, but I'm definitely going to be doing that in the next couple weeks. Can some of these old consoles like the 360 make a comeback? Yeah, they probably can, guys. They are not without their limitations. Their stores are shutting down. The online multiplayer stuff, if the servers are even running, they're going to be plagued with hackers and cheaters. For the single-player games, absolutely. Like, if you do love Fallouts, Oblivions, Dragon Ages, anything like that doesn't really require a huge online component or anything for it, then you're going to be okay there. So if you want to collect on the 360, absolutely, it's a great console to collect on. There's tons of games out there. You can get so many games for $5 and under. Even if you hit the pavement on the yard sale scene, guys, you're going to find tons of games for this. And a lot of the games have aged very well. They still play really good, and they don't look horribly bad for how old they are. And if you really want to take a step back in time to when gaming was just more about social interaction and having fun, and less about loot boxes, hyper monetization, and skill-based matchmaking, then fire up the old 360 and throw some of these classics in it, guys. You will not go wrong. They're such good games. And if you've made it this far down memory lane with me, I really appreciate it. As always, guys, if you have anything to add to the video, please like, comment, subscribe. I love hearing from you guys and talking about old video games and gaming news in general. I will see you on the next one. Everyone have an awesome day. Peace.